Alright, in this video we're going to go over Unit 1.3 of APUSH, which is the European Exploration in the Americas. Now, the basic gist of this section is a flowchart of how the Europeans got to the Americas. So to provide some context, Europe just got out of the Black Death and the population increased, and during this time there was also a greater centralization of power in the government, and there became a rise in strong monarchs and nations. From the Black Death, there's also an increase in the middle class. Since they have more money to spend, there's an increased demand for goods like spices or other luxury items. So with this increased demand for goods, they're going to have to find an increased supply, and this increased their desire to trade with the Spice Islands to get these goods. Now, normally when they traded, they would have to go to the Spice Islands through land, and that would mean they would have to go inside Italian and Middle Eastern territory, and when they do that, they also get taxed as well, so they won't get as much profit from it. And with this issue, they're trying to find a different way to get to the Spice Islands without having to pay taxes to the Italians and the Middle East. So Portugal was one of the first nations to try this. Instead of going by land, they traveled by sea, and they're able to do this using caravels, which are ships designed only for merchant uses, while previously European nations used ships as a two-in-one for war and trading. They also used some maritime technology that was developed recently in their time period, like lateen sails and astrolabes, to allow them to travel along the African coast to the Spice Islands, and this created a trading post empire for Portugal. So with Portugal leveling up so quickly, other European nations want to find their direct route to the Spice Islands as well. And one of them is Spain. Spain want their route too, and this is where Columbus comes into the picture. So Columbus got sponsored by Spain to reach the Spice Islands by going west instead of around the around Africa, or going across land. This way they're able to avoid any other influence, so they don't get taxed for traveling through that area. So as we all know, Columbus ended up reaching the New World, or the Americas, instead of reaching the Spice Islands. And when he got there, he saw that there were a lot of riches and resources in that new area, and he reported it back to Europe. And so from this, Europeans want to travel to the Americas and get resources and riches off there because of the abundance of resources in that area.